here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
I pick things up and I put them down, right? Apparently, Jalin Hyatt's been doing a little bit of bulking up. I think Darius Slayton said looks like he put on he's just saying it probably tongue in cheek, like 15 pounds or 20 pounds. I think he said, and there's an article here. Now, you certainly could put on 15 or 20 pounds. It ain't going to be all muscle, especially in whatever. I mean, we got a season ended in January. Here it is, like 5 months later. You ain't putting on 15, 20, even if you're roiding it up. Now, I don't know exactly once the season's over with, right? If we got a few months, before OTAs and all that stuff. I don't know what the urination policy is there, right? When they want to check your, get a urine sample of you, see what's going on. You can not saying he did, I don't know, but I mean, if you want to bulk up a little bit, you can do some, maybe do some roids for a couple months, do a cycle or so, hit the weights pretty good for a few months, put on a couple pounds, but apparently Hyatt. Now, also, they were on Big Blue Kickoff Live. This is something they were talking about as well, too. They were talking about, I think, I can't remember who it was talking about looking at his upper body. And they were like, hey, he's looking a little thicker than he was, But they also said, too, because this is not something you want to be effing around with. When you come into this league and you got the speed, the last thing you want to do is lose the speed by piling on a whole bunch of weight. But they said, apparently he has the speed. It's just that, he's got a little more thicker. So now I'm not sure if that's one of his problems, as far as maybe, trying to get off of contact from corner, maybe getting a little bigger, a little faster, a little stronger. Don't know. But apparently he's been doing a little bit of bulking up. It says here, a recent Giants draft pick just underwent a notable body transformation, and it could be the key to unlocking a long-awaited breakout. We'll have to wait and see. Although, once again, and it's only OTAs. It's all it is, right? But apparently, Russell Wilson and him have been, have made some connections, deep connections. So. Giants offense is going to look a lot different this season despite the return of head coach Brian Daboll and his offensive scheme. New quarterbacks offer the promise of new hope for big plays down the field. But the quarterback room isn't the only thing pretty different these days. Wide receiver Jalin Hyatt has been busy this offseason. Hyatt has generated some buzz over a remodeled body this offseason after a frustrating first 2 seasons of play. Giants invested a significant pick into Hyatt as a member of the team's 2023 NFL draft class, the 73rd overall pick that year. Hyatt has posted just 31 receptions. He had 23 his rookie year. He had just 8 receptions last year. I mean, my goodness. Fellow wide receiver Darius Slayton dished on just how different the third-year pro's body is this summer. He said Hyatt is up between 15 to 20 pounds. I don't know about that. I mean, that's an awful lot. That's an awful lot. 15 to 20 pounds. I mean, that's a lot. There's no way in HEL double hockey sticks that it's 15 pounds of pure muscle. I mean, there's no way. You're not putting on 15 pounds of solid muscle in 5 months. So that's just, because that means if he was just totally roiding it out, because you got to eat a lot too. You want to put on weight, you got to eat, right? But I mean, that means at that rate, he would be putting on like 35 pounds or so of solid muscle in a year. And that's pretty tough to, even if you're roiding up with the best of them, that's pretty tough to do. Yeah. But the one thing is that if you're slender, which he is, right? You put on a few pounds, you put on 5, 6, 7 pounds or so, or whatever. It's going to be, it'd be like, oh, whoa, you know what I mean? It's noticeable. That is noticeable, right? Jalin Hyatt came into the Giants spring program swelled up. Said Darius Slayton. Hyatt put on 15 to 20 pounds in the offseason. So it's going to be interesting to see what they got him down at as his weight. The hope for the Giants here should be that more of a filled out and powerful frame can help Hyatt win through contact more consistently. Hyatt's route running was not particularly refined coming out of a wide open college spread scheme. Nope. That was the one thing. I mean, they kind of like schemed them wide open. I mean, it's different here in the pros, right? Further complicating matters was a slender frame that lacked great length. Hyatt measured in at 176 pounds at the combine. That ain't much at all. Now, if he was like 5'8", that's not too bad, but not at his height, right? Which is the fifth percentile for NFL wide receiver since 2000. Wow. He's been on the roster at approximately 185 pounds, which is still very slender, meaning Hyatt is potentially pushing 200 pounds this summer. Okay, all right. Hyatt will need to ensure that he's maintained his burst, though, and speed among the weight gain. If he does, Hyatt may finally have the functional strength to win at the top of his routes to pair with his vertical potential. It is yet to be determined how long veteran quarterback Russell Wilson is going to hold the starting quarterback position this season. Wilson's touchdown to check down mindset as a quarterback sets the table favorably for Hyatt to get selective shots vertically down the field as well. Going to also be interesting to see, right, how often he does get on the field, because if we got the 4-man, receiver, out there, okay, Hyatt's probably going to be one of them, right? But if it's just 3 guys out there, it's a good chance. We brought Slayton back, right? Good chance it's going to be Mr. Nabers, going to be Mr. Robinson's neighborhood, and it's going to be Slayton, unless we have an injury, right? You got an injury to one of the top 3, quite possibly, moves Hyatt up into the top 3. So the best news for all New York is that Hyatt is a complementary talent amid the presence of Slayton and second-year star Malik Nabers in the wide receiver room. He isn't likely to be a high-volume passing target, which is just fine. But if he can find his footing well enough to be a solid downfield counterpunch when teams cheat their coverage to Nabers, Hyatt may finally take those first steps to living up to his draft pedigree. After a few maddening years of offensive football, that may just be enough to take the heat off. The next step for Hyatt will be playing with his refined frame effectively when the pads come on. All the extra weight won't change a thing for Hyatt unless it shows up to help him create the separation he's been missing from his game throughout the first 2 seasons. So, going to be interesting to see, does all this, the extra weight, extra strength and all of that, does it, is he able to get away from the coverage, but not only can he get away from the coverage with his strength, but does he keep the speed to get away from the coverage? Because, he's one of those really perfect things. We got Wandale, catches short passes. If we can get Theo, right, start stepping his game up. And of course, then you got Malik on one side. Whenever Hyatt's on the field and Malik's on one side, they're worried about. Well, they're worried about Hyatt too, but they're really worried about Malik, right? So they might have to start sliding some coverage. Might start opening up the field on the other side for Mr. Hyatt. But that's another reason why we have Slayton there for too. He's fast too, so interesting to see. It's just one of those things. And, it's a little bit very disappointing because how well he's did in college. But also we traded up to get him. We didn't waste a draft pick on him, but we traded 2 picks to go up and get him. So it would be and it was in the 3rd round too. Right? Be nice to see if we can get some more production. 31 catches. He only had 8 last year. It was like, what are we doing?